Aloha, welcome back. So the theme of the day seems to be hypocrisy. I started this video a minute ago on my phone. I was about to watch it by myself, but then she started talking about hypocrisy, and we've been talking about that with the Democrats and Republicans, how they're both hypocrites. They say one thing and do another, mostly talking about Joe Biden right now. But let's see, we're talking about farmers in what is it, France. French farmers erect concrete walls and dump manure outside government offices. See, we need to get down more like the French. And this is First Post.
Staying with France, hypocrisy is not their only problem. They're also dealing with public anger, especially from their farmers. French farmers have taken to the streets again. They're driving their tractors down various cities. They're dumping hay and manure outside government buildings. And they're also building walls, concrete walls, outside government offices. Now, this is a symbolic gesture to express their anger at an impending trade deal. This is a deal between Europe and South America. It's a free trade agreement. It has been in the works for 25 years. It would create one of the largest free trade zones in the world, but the French farmers are not happy about any of this. Our next report tells you why.
French farmers are out in full force. They have donned yellow beanies, boarded their tractors, and they're marching towards government buildings all over France. They are setting up camps outside some of the offices, building bonfires and cooking French sausages and sending that smell over to the government buildings nearby. Other offices aren't as lucky though. Some of the protesting farmers have brought other things with them, like hay and liquid manure. They're setting the hay ablaze and then dousing it with the manure. That also sends quite the smell into the government buildings, but of a very different kind.
Yeah.
And the newest type of farmer protest took place in Paris outside France's National Research Institute for Agriculture, Food and Environment. The farmers brought concrete blocks with them and started building a wall outside the institute's gate. The farmers glued the blocks together and erected a wall that was almost 6 feet high. And then they spray painted this. It's a pun changing the word environment to scam, because that is what the French farmers feel. They feel they've been scammed by environmental regulations. Europe is on the verge of signing a deal with some South American countries. It's a free trade agreement between the European Union and Mercosur. Mercosur is a South American regional trade bloc comprising of Brazil, Argentina, Bolivia, Uruguay and Paraguay. The EU has been working on a deal with them for about 25 years. Negotiations began in the year 1999. And a draft deal was announced back in 2019. Mercosur is meeting next month on December 5th and 6th, and it hopes to finalize the deal. Most of Europe is on board. They want the deal to be done too. But France is a notable holdout because French farmers do not want this deal. French farmers believe a free trade agreement with South American nations will destroy their livelihoods. French farmers have been abiding by European agricultural standards. They are forbidden from using certain pesticides or growth hormones. This is to ensure the safety of European crops and meat and more natural and healthier produce. But that also makes them more expensive.
They have far better standards on their foods in Europe than we do here in the U.S. When you go there and you eat grains, it's not gluten, right? You don't have gluten problems. If you have gluten problems here, you can go to France or most places in the UK, or in Europe, and still eat bread.
So what happens when cheap pesticide and hormone-filled South American goods flood the European markets?
Bad bellies.
Farmers in France and the rest of Europe compete. A lot of them probably won't be able to, and that is why they are protesting. They feel the EU-Mercosur deal will destroy their industry.
Right, so you saw what free trade did to the U.S., what they call free trade. But see, this is the capitalist style of free trade where everything is competition. Everything is competition. Somebody's got to lose. Somebody's got to lose, because if there's a winner, there's a loser, right? But the communist style or the left style. It's workers of the world uniting. It's worker-owned means of production. We would do it in a way that we all agree, right? Like the farmers from South America and the farmers from Europe, it should be the farmers from all over the world, would agree how to farm, what pesticides to use, not to use, what to grow and where to grow, and how much to grow. You could because there's certain places that grow stuff better. You just grow it in the better places and then just ship it around. We got all kinds of shipping. Amazon can set it up.
France is the EU's agricultural powerhouse. French farmers are responsible for about 1/5 of the bloc's agricultural output. So they will be hit the hardest by a free trade deal with Mercosur. That's why they are the ones protesting the most. The French government too wants to change the terms of the deal. French lawmakers from every party want changes to the agreement or scrap it altogether. But their hands are tied. It's not up to them alone. This is an EU-wide deal, so they will need support from other countries to block the agreement. So far, France has support from Poland, Austria and the Netherlands. But even then, they don't have the numbers to stop the deal. It could...
And then, even if capitalism is the best, is so great, aren't you supposed to have more competition? The more competition, the better. So why do these so-called capitalist countries not want to let other people in and compete with them? And so I guess they have different regulations for the pesticides. You need to go at the government then and talk about the regulations, or as Trump says he's going to do, put tariffs on the trade coming in. But I guess that might be the free trade part. If it's free trade, it's tariff-free, maybe, I don't know.
Still go through. That is why the French farmers are resorting to ever more elaborate protests. They hope that by building enough pressure, their voices will be heard and the rest of Europe will notice their plight.
Okay, so that's just a little bit about the French protest right now. They're mad because the free trade thing, I don't know if you know about NAFTA, but if you're as old as I am, you probably know about NAFTA, or at least heard the term. If you're listening to this podcast or show or whatever, you probably know a little bit about politics because that's probably the only way you would find this. So free trade seems to not be good in capitalism, where capitalism is supposed to be pro-competition, and everybody wants to buy out their competition nowadays. All these Silicon Valley people, the people want to now make their app grow it as fast as you can and then sell it real quick. You don't really want to run your app anymore. You're just selling them, and Facebook and Google or whoever wants to buy all the competing things that are coming up so that they can just have all this stuff in one place. But really, in a communist society, you would grow it like that, everything would come together, and you would just basically either nationalize it or have it go for the people, right? Because there's people at Facebook, Amazon, Google, wherever. There's people in the government. It's just people doing stuff. You call one a business, you call the other one a government. You just need to have checks and balances or whatnot. Like, it doesn't need to be the way that it is. It could be much more cooperative than competitive. But before I start rambling too much, I'll see you on the next.